You won't believe what happened when Conor McGregor sent out one single tweet that literally broke the internet. From the very first second, let me warn you, stay with me till the end, because the deeper we go into this story, the crazier it gets. Trust me, by the time you reach the last detail, you'll realize why the whole world couldn't stop talking about this one moment. Conor McGregor is no stranger to controversy, but this time, it wasn't inside the octagon. It was on Twitter, just a few words that turned into a global storm. Imagine waking up one morning, scrolling through your feed, and suddenly seeing a post so bold, so shocking, that every news outlet, every sports page, and even people who didn't follow UFC started sharing it. That's exactly what happened. The tweet came out of nowhere, with no warning, no explanation, and instantly set social media on fire. Within minutes, hashtags related to McGregor climbed to the top of worldwide trends. Some fans thought he was announcing retirement. Others believed it was a jab at his rivals, while a few were convinced he was trolling everyone just for attention. The uncertainty is what made it explode. Nobody knew if he was serious, joking, or planning something huge behind the scenes. But here's the twist. What looked like just another social media stunt quickly transformed into one of the most debated moments in UFC history. Every fighter, every analyst, every celebrity seemed to have an opinion. And the mystery behind McGregor's words made people dig even deeper, fueling endless theories. And that, my friends, is just the beginning. Because what followed after that tweet is where things go from shocking to absolutely unbelievable. Right after that tweet went live, the internet turned into absolute chaos. Millions of people were refreshing their feeds, waiting for McGregor to explain himself, but he stayed silent. And that silence was the real fuel. Because when Conor doesn't say anything, the world only talks louder. By the next hour, major sports networks were already running breaking news segments, speculating about what the tweet could mean. Fans started flooding his timeline with replies. Some begged him to clarify, others mocked him, and many simply dropped fire emojis, knowing McGregor had just done something legendary. But here's the crazy part. Not only UFC fans were reacting. NBA players, Hollywood celebrities, even musicians jumped in, quoting the tweet with their own takes. It was no longer just about MMA. It had become a worldwide pop culture moment. Now think about it. How often does one fighter, with a single sentence, capture the attention of the entire globe? That's the power McGregor holds. Whether you love him or hate him, you can't ignore him. And this tweet proved exactly that. But the theories kept getting wilder. Some claimed he was hinting at a shocking comeback fight. Others thought he was announcing a massive business deal. And a few fans even believed it was connected to his personal life. Every possible angle was discussed on podcasts, YouTube videos, and Twitter Spaces. It was like the internet had turned into one giant detective board, with McGregor's tweet at the center. And just when people thought the hype might die down, something else happened that made the situation 10 times bigger. McGregor himself liked a few random replies under his tweet, and those tiny likes sent fans into complete meltdown. Suddenly, everyone was sure there was a hidden message. But the real twist was still to come. As the buzz reached its peak, people began noticing patterns in the chaos. Every sports journalist, every insider was trying to decode McGregor's silence. And here's where it gets interesting. His tweet wasn't just random. It felt like a calculated move. Almost like McGregor knew exactly how the world would react. And believe me, the reactions were bigger than anyone imagined. News articles came out by the minute. Headlines screamed about McGregor's shocking announcement, even though technically he hadn't explained anything at all. The beauty of it was that mystery itself became the story. The less he said, the more powerful the message became. That's when you realize McGregor doesn't just fight in the cage. He fights with words, and in this case, just one tweet knocked everyone out cold. And while fans were debating, UFC fighters themselves started throwing shade and dropping hints. Some rival fighters mocked him, saying he was done for. Others teased the possibility of a mega fight being announced. Suddenly, it wasn't just social media. It was the entire MMA community getting sucked into the whirlwind. But the real hook came when McGregor's management team refused to comment. Normally, someone from his camp would step in to calm the storm. But this time, nothing. That silence gave birth to even crazier theories. Was McGregor secretly negotiating a record-breaking fight? Was he about to retire once and for all? Or was this his way of manipulating the industry to his advantage? And here's the kicker. While everyone was guessing, McGregor casually posted another picture on Instagram that only deepened the mystery. It had no caption, just a smirk and a cryptic gesture. That single image paired with the tweet sent fans spiraling even more. And just when people thought they had it figured out, the story took a shocking new turn. The internet by now was in full detective mode. Every little move from Conor McGregor was being magnified, analyzed, and dissected like never before. And then came the moment that pushed the frenzy over the edge. Major sponsors and UFC officials were asked about the tweet, and none of them had a clear answer. That silence from the higher-ups was enough to convince fans that something massive was brewing behind the scenes. You have to understand, McGregor isn't just a fighter, he's a global brand. When he speaks, companies listen, investors react, and media outlets go wild. So when that tweet dropped, people weren't just asking about his career, they were asking about the business of the UFC itself. Was this a hint at a financial move? A new promotion? Or maybe even a shocking deal outside of fighting? The possibilities were endless, and that's what made it irresistible to watch unfold. Meanwhile, the fan theories kept climbing to new levels. Some claimed he was teasing a crossover fight with a boxing legend. Others believed he was going into Hollywood. And then there were wild takes suggesting he was walking away from combat sports entirely. The unpredictability is exactly what McGregor thrives on, keeping everyone guessing, holding the spotlight without lifting a finger. And just as the internet was boiling with speculation, McGregor finally broke his silence, but not in the way anyone expected. Instead of a straightforward explanation, he sent out yet another cryptic message, doubling down on the mystery. No answers, no clarity, just more fuel to the fire. That's when people realized this wasn't just a tweet. This was McGregor playing a mind game with the world, and the world was falling for it. But the final twist? That was still waiting around the corner. And here we are, the final twist in Conor McGregor's tweet saga. After days of chaos, endless speculation, and millions of people glued to their screens, McGregor finally revealed what it was all about. And trust me, the reveal was so shocking that even his harshest critics couldn't stay silent. It turned out the tweet wasn't just random or careless. It was a carefully planned teaser. McGregor announced a massive comeback fight, one that nobody saw coming. The timing, the mystery, the silence, all of it was part of a master plan to dominate headlines across the globe. And he succeeded flawlessly. Within minutes of the reveal, ticket sales crashed websites, press conferences were scheduled, and the UFC world erupted like never before. Think about it. One man, with just a few words on Twitter, managed to create one of the biggest storms in sports history. No posters, no ads, no flashy campaigns, just a single tweet that captured global attention. That's the kind of influence McGregor has, and that's why whether you love him or hate him, you can't deny his genius when it comes to commanding the spotlight. The most fascinating part, even after the reveal, fans couldn't stop debating. Some were thrilled about the fight announcement, others accused him of manipulating the audience. But at the end of the day, everyone was talking about McGregor. And that was his victory before even stepping inside the cage. So next time you scroll through Twitter and see a McGregor post, remember this moment. Because if one tweet can shake the internet to its core, imagine what he's capable of when he decides to unleash the full storm. The legend of Conor McGregor isn't just about fighting. It's about controlling the game itself.